Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Swords of the Serpentine, Denari's Half Dozen. I'm Commander Pulsar. This is my crew. Welcome to this wonderful actual play of Pelgrane Press's terrific game, Sword of the Serpentine, which is going to be out any day now, according to the Kickstarter information that I've been given and all that good stuff. That it is done at the printers, that they've just got to get it out to people. So shipping nightmares means it'll probably sometime around September. Anyway, no, but I do want to say we've had a great time. If you have checked out the VODs, which are on YouTube or in the doobly-doo here on Twitch, I'm sure you can probably catch them there as well. But anyway, we've done some great stuff. We have saved the goddess. In the process, unfortunately, the city has kind of caught fire and rioting, and I want to go ahead for this evening, apologize to the writers Kevin Culp and Emily Dresner, who wrote Sword of the Serpentine, for what I've done to their city of Eversink. But
okay, hold on, real quick. We literally had someone comment and was like, "Shit happens," was the comment. So we're not apologizing. Eversink's on fire. Get over it. Also, Commander Pixel Chat is broken, so check your DMs.
Oh, great! Of course it is. But anyway, it's true. Eversink has burned down before. The buildings sink into the swamp anyway. So rebuilding the city from fire and rebuilding from the city from just the fact that it sinks is probably kind of something they're used to. So with that said, I want to kind of introduce the rest of my crew. Popcorn Initiative. We're going to start with Kitty this week.
Again. Hi, I'm Kitty.
Oh, did it the last time? Oh. I thought I was doing a new person. I don't remember.
Whatever. I'm Kitty. My pronouns are she, her. I am playing Riona. Riona O'Kieran of the Voltavni, whose pronouns are also she, her. And let's have Stephanie go next.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Allen, she, her. I am playing Lady Adarin Ligorio, also she, her pronouns. And let's go with Aki.
Hi, my name is Aki, pronouns she, they. I am playing Pax, pronouns also she, they. Gee, who am I going to send it to?
Let's send it over to our producer, actually.
Just...
Hi, y'all. I'm Cole, aka Ice Cold Brew. My pronouns are he, him, they, them, and I have the joy of playing the absolute mess that is Alwyn, who also has the same pronouns as I do. And hey, Pulsar, back to you.
Hey, fantastic. Yep. I'm Pulsar. My pronouns are he, him. The pronouns of all the NPCs I wind up playing are their own. And I guess we'll get to them when we need them. And yeah, get into it. That a couple of days have passed since signing day. 5 to 6, enough time to heal, to get over wounds, to kind of, well, I guess the question for y'all is, depending on the neighborhood, like Adarin's neighborhood, Alderhall, where the rich folk generally dwell, where the homes of the ancient nobility are largely intact, but not, without there's damage, some notable homes. Somebody their mansion burned down. Is it somebody that Adarin likes, or is this one of those those guys?
I had a kind of a noble house that I was kind of sitting on. They're bridge makers. They like design and build bridges, and so there's always a need for that in Eversink. So they're one of the few noble families that have had money through the years. Maybe not lots of money, but they've consistently had money coming in. Right. So I like the idea that it's them, and everybody's all like, well, it's about time for them to experience some hardship.
About time something bad happened to these. Okay, I love it. I mean, okay. If it's a noble family that does work on bridges and stuff, I'm going to be in their corner and say that they have probably gotten crap from the ancient nobility for a while for almost being members of the Mercari, in a way. If you, I mean, wow, they signed really small, didn't they? Are you sure that's your name on the contract? That kind of thing. It just, so yeah, it's still one of those, yeah, all right. And that's, yeah, I love it. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I am
Brivio.
grab
The Brivio family.
Brivio?
Yeah.
Bruvio?
Brivio. Brivio.
Okay, Brivio. Excellent. I love it. And yeah, they have a town, they basically have got a townhouse in Iron Cross that they're renting. That's the thing, because they have money, they're actually not doing bad. They're not as devastated as some other noble houses would be, because a lot of the houses, that their house and the stuff and their status is what they have. And if that was gone, then that would, not be okay. But yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of also in the last couple of days that a lot of the noble houses have been coming and go. Your family has probably received a lot of visitors just simply because of your connections to the actual contract, because all of the ancient nobility want to make sure they get their names on the new one. That they no, we signed the last one, we're signing this one too. Kind of business. And I'm sure there's Mercari that are involved in there too. So maybe that'll be something we get into as well. As Mercari family is like, yeah, we feel prominent enough that we can sign this. Maybe I'm sure enough donation to the church, etc. That kind of thing. People literally buying their way into nobility. Mm. But yeah, I think the Brivio family are doing surprisingly well, just in like basically rental house, while their mansion is being rebuilt and stuff.
Their
like
pied-a-terre that they have in the city.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the there's probably like a younger Brivio. Is there like a scion of the family who's tried to date a Darren?
Oh, I bet there's one who's interested now, who was like, oh, why would I marry the youngest daughter of the Ligorio family? But now that I've like suddenly taken a huge leap up in my like prevalence and importance politically and socially, there's probably one who's coming and sniffing around now.
Yeah, okay. I would say probably I'll come up with somebody. He's not in town right now because he's vacationing in Cambria on the beaches. So,
but his mom has been around. Tried to broker that, I think.
Right, yeah.
She's like, been trying to suss out interest. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, it's just I kind of have this impression of this younger Brivio being that kind of not useless, but the kind of European rich that is like spending the weekends or the summers in Monaco or whatever, and then coming back and doing family business for like a day and a half, and then going on the rest of the week back. Yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of ancient nobility with actual money is like a weird combo. It's one of those. Oh well.
Well, she has money, and now she's also important. Yeah, I like.
Yeah,
that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. This is like, okay, well, I've got the money part. She's also got money, which is great, and then, and she's got political power. Wait a minute, and she's single. Wow. All right.
Yeah. Darren's gonna have some feelings about that one.
I just love it. I'm actually picturing a scene of this guy having this conversation with like a guard, and then finding out later that it's Oleander. It's just like, so do you know anything? Yeah, and it's just kind of. I just see her just being stoic and it's like, can't kill him. We're at a party.
I will say that Darren will make a point to any visitors to like, yes, tell them the whole tale, but like a carefully crafted version of the story. Nice. Trying to control the spin of like, gonna downplay that the danger, that the very real danger that the goddess was in of actually literally dying. Gonna like downplay it a lot, actually.
Yeah. Just
Yeah, but like painted as like this like Indiana Jones-esque like thrilling sword and sorcery type of adventure. But also like trying to very kind of like not have our names attached to sorcery.
Right.
Like assuming that Alwyn and Riona and Pax also do not want their names attached to anything that might have been sorceress happening. And downplaying that and trying to protect that a little bit. And talking about like, oh, if you saw any magic, it was from the goddess kind of thing. And if it was sorcery, she was right there. She would have put a stop to it if she disproved, you know? Right. And also pointedly really like using Oleander's name and playing up the role of the church militant and especially Oleander.
Nice. Yeah, swords and sorcery in this economy? I mean...
Yeah, and also Darren has written a letter. Like, I think it's one of the first things she did when she got back to the estate, like the next day, to whoever is in charge of the entire church militant, like by name, calling out everyone who was in that unit and talking about how great they were and how like exemplary and blah 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 blah, but like pointedly kind of like suggesting that maybe Oleander deserved a promotion and including like a really significant amount of money in with this letter, you know, in thanks for their service.
I think Darren would probably be canny enough not to put the money directly with the letter.
Right.
But like close enough, like, you know, oh, this letter from the Ligorios. Also, I understand there was like a delivery from the Ligorios to like all of the clerks in various. So apparently we've got, you know, ledger books for like the next 10 years and, you know, office supplies have been provided. And
yeah, because I imagine a donation would be against like the idea of commerce. Like if we can't even let beggars beg and like acts of charity are discouraged, then, you know,
I mean, there's a lot of ways around it. I mean, like one of the things the church is doing now is in some ways like lending money, and the cost of lending money is a donation of time to the, you know, blah blah blah. We're going to help you rebuild your house. In return, we're going to need you to help rebuild other people's houses. Kind of thing, you know. There's a whole, that's a lot of like, there's a number of ways that the church can kind of do charity, but not, basically it's just one of those that
she's exploiting one of those loopholes of like, hey, like, you know,
yeah, absolutely.
This is, you know, a bonus to their paycheck and thanks for their hard work, you know, or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's absolutely, you can tip.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Fine,
there you go.
I mean, tipping 3,500%, it seems extreme, but maybe the service was fantastic. I don't know. Darren's a baller. What can I say? He's getting the, you know, bottle service at the club, you know.
Look, you know, I don't, if any of my family tried to protest, be like, oh, really? You place that little value on my life? Like...
Oh, man. So there's a thought for you come up to me later. Who's the family member most likely to give you that kind of lip? But anyway, so yeah, so at Darren's circle, things are not so bad. Very good, yes. But in the foreign quarter, it is a little bit of a mishmash in that the building materials in the foreign quarter are not always you know, stone and fire resistant material. There's a lot of wooden buildings. There's a lot of homes that are actually shacks just built on scaffolding on the side of other buildings that are being, you know, constantly built or whatever. You know, if there's not actually brickwork going on, they don't take the scaffolding down. They just put up some walls and tarps and stuff, and somebody will live there for, you know, weeks or months. Those kind of homes are really in danger of fire. But I also feel like there are various neighborhoods in the foreign district that are also really good at coming together, as far as, you know, it's part of the fire problem during this whole event was that the city watch is normally also the fire department. So, you know, if they're busy quelling riots, they can't be putting out fires and vice versa. So, you know, if you're putting out the fire, then you're not stopping the riot that's starting the next fire, kind of thing. So, but that I'm picturing kind of, well, Rihanna, tell me, how do the Vani come together when there is a crisis? I mean, on the plains, I guess, and how does the neighborhood here kind of work that? Is there because there's, it's not like there's not a phone tree like there would be
No.
in my church community, but there's a.
So the Fontavni, their clans are very close knit. So within a clan, if something happened, it would be whoever is able to help would be helping. And I feel like the Fontavni who live in Eversink can have kind of formed their own clan, since they're likely away from most of their family. So they very likely all were helping protect people's homes and doing their best to prevent fires from breaking out in that district, that neighborhood.
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm kind of feeling that would be one of those. Fontavni neighborhood is probably
almost
fine. Yeah. I mean, they're, like you said, if there's anybody that's dehoused or something like that, they're just okay. It's just one more person living with, cousins and stuff. So yeah, it's like, okay, I figure like there's probably buildings that would in other parts of the city be like apartment buildings with lots of different families. But if in like the Fontavni space, they almost don't close the doors because it's all just same clan and everybody's just kind of in and out of room, So it's like, okay, now we have 42 people living in this building instead of 40. Okay, But I feel like that it's up and down, and like I think there has been damage to the farm baked goods, and probably like the days after, if PAX isn't called on by the city, with kind of up to you if there's any. I imagine there probably is. There's probably kind of an all hands on deck, but is this one of those where PAX is working doubles and things like that? Because it's a matter of kind of in the shop, it's mostly cleaning up glass and people like busting in and going, well, my house burned down, I need food kind of thing, and just grabbing. I imagine the store probably got looted. Even though if anybody had asked, your dad probably would have just given them food. In fact, that's probably what they're doing now.
Yeah, that's honestly what I was thinking they were doing. Is like, in the most appropriate, not break the rules of Denari way possible, they're trying to give food to people that need it and help as they can. And
yeah,
Pax was kind of looking forward to this all dying down so they could stop working the doubles basically. And now it's like, oh, it's not over. So it's back to right at the crack of dawn, go to the city, go till about later in the evening, then go back to the families and continue helping to bake until it's like midnight, then walk all the way back home and go to sleep and wake up and do it again.
So okay, my thing for PAX there is it's probably stressful because a lot of it is dealing with spirits that are not yet passed on, because there's only so many people who can carve and sculpt funerary statues, and when something bad like this happens, if the statue isn't already made, then there's a real rush kind of thing. I
imagine it's probably a lot more. There's probably like wooden or not very flame resistant statues that were there that are burning, so now there's all these guys that are back and it's like, oh,
so yeah, in this I imagine the spirit world is probably not great right now, and you've already just came off of a not great experience getting stuck there. Does PAX have anybody to talk to about stuff like that? Is there anybody is there anybody that could work as a therapist, or do you have a work buddy or any? I know that you've got a boss that you don't get along with. But is there like a watch member that is kind of? There's got to be somebody. PAX cannot be the pariah of the whole.
Oh no!
Surely not.
No, PAX is definitely having a hard time, but they do still have the the sort of semi-parental figure at the church.
Okay.
I don't think we ever figured out a name for.
No, I don't think we ever named them. That's. I'm wondering if we have.
I
That's.
don't know what their
We'll
name
work
is,
on it.
but
We'll work on it.
They
Okay.
exist, and so they probably there may have been
That
a
is
couple.
that's the important.
Couple of stops by, like on the way to or from places. Just how you doing? No.
Yeah. There's probably like
Stops
a
and cries
check-in.
for 5 minutes.
Yeah, there you
There's
go.
so many cars there, and it's a lot. And then,
I love it. Yeah.
I have a
that's-
question for Pax. Aki, is Pax's family's bakery in the foreign district?
yeah, it's there.
Would Pax have been staying with Riona at night?
If not,
Because she
yeah,
lives
if
in
not
the
with
foreign
the
district.
family. Yeah, if
It'd
not
be-
with the family.
It'd be closer to go to Riona's house and crash
Yeah.
than go all the way home.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, because like I kind of envisioned there may have been like some slight internal fire damage because whatever broke the glass, I imagine may have potentially been on fire. So some potential internal damage. So like the families, the ones that are left living there, have been displaced. So there is the possibility that Pax just shows up at Riona's house, like home one night. When I stay, like I just need a corner, just like to sleep.
Yeah, or just Is it all right if I just sit down for a minute and then like sits down and like passes out in the chair?
Oh, just immediately, just okay.
Riona comes back in the room with tea and Pax is just unconscious. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I was like, oh man, sorry. It sounds like you've had a rough day. Oh, okay. Blanket, just blanket and then like set the tea off to the side. It's a really nice tea service. You guys have the tea services that pretty much all of you own have sort of been improved. You've been able to shop with an interesting amount of knowledge about teacups and tea kettles thanks to an old friend. So yeah, some quality Riona's house. But anyway. But yes, I imagine there's probably just Pax is just worn out between that and like getting done with work with the church and then going to your family's place and just like helping bake or because your mom is also just like worn out. Kim Pham is kind of the baker of Pham baked goods, and one of the things that she has done is not just stick with Senganese stuff, but learned baking procedures from like other countries. So it's kind of almost an international bakery in that, it's one of those few places in the foreign district that you can get like, because every culture has some kind of fried dough, it's beignets or donuts or, that kind of thing, or just challah or whatever. Everybody has something. And she's kind of learned to do all of that. And has, because of this and because there are people in the neighborhood that aren't eating, your mom has just been going almost 24 hours a day for like 5 days. Yeah. Kind of, your dad is just like kind of handling people and kind of that because it's what he usually does, but also has to kind of stop and go, Kim, go sleep. Pax is here. Pax can watch the ovens. Go sleep. Kind of, just it's the whole, but people need food. I'm like, it takes time for dough to rise. Go sleep. Kind of situation.
Oh yeah.
And I guess the other part, probably a couple of days into it, is that Mai doesn't live with the family because Mai's married and her husband also has a job, but I don't think her husband's job is in the foreign quarter. We'll figure that out too. But Cam and Lynn and your father a little bit. Lynn has not normally would be in and helping, but has stayed home because she's got a really was really kind of just not feeling great, and so has spent the last 2 days just not at the store, which is of course means that Pax is even more tired. But yeah, I think
don't want Lynn there anyway. They're like, no, don't. You're not coughing on the no, not coughing on the food. Go away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fairly restaurant standard. If you're sick, please don't come in.
Mhm.
But and I guess there probably is a demand for coffee, Alwyn, because there's a lot of people pulling late nights, early mornings, and just caffeine is life, I guess. So where's the where's the oddest place you've gotten a big order from this week?
Ooh, hold on.
I mean, because
think
obviously the City Watch is going to be like, oh, there's going to be plenty of people like, okay, I'm going to get some good coffee. I know this local grinder guy.
Is it fucked up if I say it's a fish hall?
Yes, that probably would be a very odd place to get an order from, given y'all's history.
But I'm a good business guy. I'm a little businessman.
Are you gonna go, or is this a DoorDash? I mean, drop it and run kind of?
I think Alwyn has done pre-orders and has made it known that he will drop it off. Drop it off with, a lot, like as soon as it's available. And by that he means I've been using the statues to help get deliveries out faster.
Interesting. Okay.
And so it just pops up on everyone's doorstep by the next morning. They're just not there. They just don't see it. Like a reverse Santa Claus.
How does this happen in secret?
I think it's just like specifically Alwyn knows he has to go to the fish hall, knows there are statues standing above it and around it, and just like drops off one of the statues, drops the bags in front of one of the statues and just says, just go there. Just go across the street and like don't let them see me.
Okay, because I was just thinking that Alwyn is like going outside his house and handing it to a statue, and then just slowly over the course of time, them just handing it to the next statue. And when everyone looks, they're just like,
This random statue holding a bag of Alwyn's coffee.
holding a bag of coffee. Yeah, just has that always
Hey,
been
free
there?
advertising.
I don't.
Yeah.
Has that always been there? I don't know.
A couple
Just
of the
like-
orders get stolen because somebody's like, "Hey, free coffee."
I'm picturing like the weeping angels in Doctor Who. They don't deliver coffee if anybody's looking. Yeah, it's just yeah.
But yeah, I do imagine that like Alwyn specifically probably uses maybe some of the statues to help him carry some of the heavier stuff when it gets too much by himself. But when he knows it's fish hall specifically, needs the money really badly because he did not get paid for that for the saving the city, sadly. And so it's a large order and just looks at a few statues and just says, go up there, knock on the door, then stand to the side, and just gives like 3 statues like 4 20-pound bags of coffee beans.
Nice.
And just like stands like 3 blocks away. It's like not even dawn yet. The light has not even shone through on the dock. It's like right before the fishermen go out.
Okay.
A little subtlety. Good.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I was kind of curious if like, who would be the weirdest, but that's not the weirdest. That's almost the most suspicious person to order coffee from Alwyn. Like, how do you know that I'm yes, being watched
Alwyn
by.
doesn't think like that. Look, if you saw this man in real life, you'd be like, he does not have a single thought in his head. He just thinks magic and coffee. That's all there is to them.
I mean, fair. I mean, magic and coffee. Plants would be the sphere I would take for coffee. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Hey, as with Riona as a friend, he'll never run out of coffee beans.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Another downtime project just to like come up with new coffee beans and like put them in different environments and force them to grow there and just see what happens with the flavor.
Strains.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay. So rules wise, there is a type of magic you can do that doesn't use corruption, it is basically built around alchemy and thaumaturgy.
Go on.
So that's a thing that maybe if you wanted to invest some points in, we'll talk about it.
All right.
That's definitely an option for. I'm thinking all sites, all kinds of potions that are just brewed like coffee.
Or like ink, maybe.
Yeah.
Darren, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I technically have the skill for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go.
Also,
Side projects.
Thank you for stopping me because I was about to go into a rant about how elevations affect flavor profile, and it was going to get really.
Let's not do that right now.
My entire Zoom camera was going to turn into a green screen with an entire lecture behind it.
It's
I would just mute you and move on.
And then he'd kick me because I would bounce off of that and go into wine, and yeah, we wouldn't get anything done. Though I will say the elevation due to coffee is gonna be weird in Eversink because the buildings are always going down, so your elevation is always dropping a little bit.
I think the fish hall is definitely the weirdest to Owen to get an order from, not the most suspicious to them, but just gets up and away, goes by the city watch, waves, kind of hurries past the church militant.
Right. Okay. And yeah, I mean, fair. I'm trying to think. Yeah, because it's gonna have weird, because you're gonna lose some business, and I guess the other thing about delivering to Fish Hall is realizing that Fish Hall is now basically the edge of Sag Harbor, because pretty much everything to the west of Fish Hall and the Sunken Arena has burnt to the water line, and there's a flotilla of boats basically north of where Sag Harbor was, and has flowed south a little bit toward the pilings and things like that. I will point out that for you guys on the map here, it's kind of in this area. And that is because most of the folks that survived and fled their homes, well, it's Sag Harbor. Pretty much everything there is built in the water. It's where a lot of the fishing industry is. It's where night markets are. It's one of the poorest parts of the city anyway. So it's all kind of dilapidated. It's all falling into the swamp. So there are rafts and boats all over the place. So when it caught fire, everybody got on their rafts and boats and kind of went north towards Temple Market Square. And I mean, scattered basically, but eventually congregated there and have started kind of strapping their boats and rafts together to form this kind of large floating community of just to, again, the city's they're kind of coming together a little bit of, well, City Watch didn't do anything to keep our homes from burning down, but we can share water. I have a little bit of fish, kind of, so they're not doing great. And there's not a lot of coffee orders from the flotilla, but
I think Owen would drop off a sizable amount to at least keep the people make it enjoyable for people. Just like there'd be a mysterious bag of coffee here and there.
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, is that something Owen wants to, I mean, is this a place Owen would be curious about? Would Owen would you be able to resist? You see the floating city out there in the bay. Would Owen be able to go, hang on, and go, yeah, no, I'm not curious about that.
I personally love floating cities, whether it's in the air or on the water. I love them. Owen definitely would not resist that. I think they would probably dive into like trying to help out where they can, at least getting like some resources out to them.
Okay. I think I'm actually gonna call for a roll on this here, because I think there is a little bit of what are you doing? Is kind of is this disaster tourism kind of thing when you kind of because you'd have to get rowed out there too. So but I know you just said you're taking coffee, so I think that's probably a good thing. Why don't you give me a sway?
Yeah.
But it's difficult, particularly with the coffee. I'm going to say your threshold is probably around is not as high as it would be otherwise. So
I'll spend 1 point just to,
all right,
because I don't trust Roll20 today.
Bam.
Oh wow.
Okay. Well. All right. So yeah, that's yeah. So you kind of like, well, I just want to help. I have, I'm coffee and things like that. So yeah, they kind of row you out and a little small. Your coffee's probably in like big sacks, right?
Oh yeah,
burlap
like
kind of thing. Yeah.
burlap sacks, basically. For the record, I rolled a 7, so I rolled a 6+1 for those who can't see Roll20.
Mm-hmm. Which is, and your threshold was 3, so that's one shy of a critical hit, but that's not, there's not a huge bonus for that or anything like that. So I would think that, yeah, they're like, okay, sure, and in the process of them rowing you over, and they kind of bring you aboard, and like a couple of cups of coffee beans is kind of out of the bag and into their like a personal stash kind of thing. And yeah, there isn't, unlike Sag Harbor where there's like wooden like gangplanks and roads and streets and stuff, there's not that, because you're literally kind of walking. People are living on their boats, so you're essentially walking out of someone's living room into somebody's bathroom, onto the roof of somebody's house, into somebody else's living room. There is no like streets or anything like that. It's everyone living very close together, and there are people that are still like have soot on them from like almost a week ago, and they haven't been able to get. And you took some points in bind wounds, but not
enough to be helpful.
Not enough to, yeah, and nothing in leechcraft. But I'm kind of looking, seeing if you've but charm, liar's tale, trustworthy.
I mean, here's an important question. Would Ghosts and Spirits help? And more importantly, is Ghosts and Spirits back? Have I reinfused my cane at all in the past few days?
I think over time. I think it's one of those that it didn't break, and there was it's like that week, like where the radio is very dim and faded until you kind of come into range of the radio station or whatever, and it kind of you may still have a little static or whatever. There's times where it just kind of fizzes and pops. I don't know why I'm using a radio metaphor for this, but yeah, I mean, it's
coming from my new sphere. It's got shiny crystals in it.
Oh, okay.
That's where the static's coming from.
Did you choose crystals as your new sphere? That's fantastic. That's very Atomic Robo of you. This Dr. Dinosaur would be very proud.
I wish. Yeah. But
okay, yeah, no, but everybody seems relative. There's a little bit of, mostly what you're kind of noticing is lethargy. There's a lot of folks that are just kind of just sitting on their boats, and yeah, it's there. It is. It has a very refugee camp feel to it. Not enough food, not enough sleep, not enough, and what you probably not enough fresh water to go around. So yeah, but there's coffee now, which is cheerful. I mean, basically, you kind of come away from that experience with there's a little bit of a more positive vibe, in just that they're okay, well, we've got this, maybe we can put this together. You see people that you've like passed probably on your way back, because you kind of have to make your way back through a path. It's very maze like. I've got to imagine somebody that took you over in the boat is kind of walking around with you so you can get back to the boat. But kind of on that way back and tracing back, you've seen where you've handed coffee to different people, but they've already pulled it back together. That there's like they've kind of put a larger, probably like a wooden box that they've kind of decided is now the coffee hold or whatever, and they've kind of started reportioning it, or I'm like, okay, that's great. He was passing it out, but man, we'll just all put it in one place, whatever. So, and yeah, so yeah, there's that is where to after that, after Sag Harbor and the visit to the floating city or floating district.
Damn, be a good time for Scarless rumors. But I think
well, what Scarless rumors are you looking? Are you looking to find out some, or are you looking to start some?
No, just to hear some random rumors. Like who all is still missing.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of little there's, I'm gonna say probably on like one of the boats, probably near where they're kind of cooling the coffee and stuff like that. There's kind of like a little cork board with lots of scraps of paper of with somebody's name, so and so find us, we're on the green boat with the red trim, kind of lots of kind of lost and found, Craigslist sort of, or our girl is missing, or so and so is blah blah blah, is so and so dead?
Yeah.
If not, respond to this ad or respond to this note or come to this place, kind of thing. Because there's a lot of people that are still up in the air with loved ones missing, possibly dead, probably dead, or just not connected, But you're probably finding that all over.
Yeah. I think especially with the flotilla, just because it's so disconnected from Eversink. I think Alwyn probably pays a little bit more attention to that, considering they brought coffee over, and was kind of noticing some of the names and trying to keep them to memory.
Okay.
And I think with that, there's two things in Alwyn's mind. Is one is make more coffee, make sure it gets delivered out here. Two is go see PAX, because I need to go see the City Watch and the Church Militant and see what they know. And also, PAX might know more in the spirit realm than I do if anyone's dead.
Okay. I mean, yeah, there are probably, in as far as your spirit site goes, and it is not operating as great as you'd like, but that there are more than usual number of restless spirits that are in the process of or are kind of trying to hold it together long enough for someone to finish a funerary statue kind of thing. That is something that Alwyn could do something about, but it would be definitely sorcery.
That was actually something I remember I mentioned in Discord as well too. I'm gonna retract what I said about going to see PAX, and I think we go back to Alwyn's house instead.
Okay. And all right.
I think there's a trap door that goes down into a basement, and in the basement is a like a little hallway, because this actually, the small house Alwyn lives in is a third story of a house that was there 2 generations ago, that through some kind of shenanigans he was able to stumble upon and claim for himself. And 2 floors below it is a large living room where he probably has like gone through and tried to get descriptions of people and started quietly making statues of them.
Okay.
Just to kind of quiet the spirits a little while.
Okay. So here's my question: is the floor that Alwyn lives on, is it like half sunk already, like those downstairs apartments in New York? You know what I mean? Like the brownstones where you have to step down anyway.
So, I think it's at the halfway mark. Yeah.
All right, I like that. That's Alwyn's apartment is one of those step down places because it's like halfway sunk, and they've already built on top of it, but it was it's kind of cheaper because it's half sunk or whatever. And all right, we'll have to. I have a note to self figure out who Alwyn is renting from. And what do they think of roasted coffee?
Alan just keeps saying, "Oh yeah, no, all that stuff is for coffee. All of it, everything down there, it's coffee. Don't worry about it."
I mean, honestly, I can see Alwyn like making that not a lie by just keeping beans down there along with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like they're going to borrow. It's not going to bother the statues.
All the
But, yeah.
statues are holding coffee beans and like different apparatuses.
Yeah, so there you go. It's like, why do I need a grinder stand? Here, hold this.
It's just like someone who's supposed to be holding like a baby bird, and Alan's just like moved the bird away to the shoulder and put a bowl instead.
Weird. It just occurred to me that statuary is Alwyn's sorcery. They don't have to be statues of people. Flying stone birds. Neat.
Hurts
That's
a lot
fun.
too. New weapon.
There you go. It's a hummingbird. That's not a hummingbird. It's a granite hummingbird. Jesus, that's neat. I love it. Now I have to give you an excuse, a reason, and a method, and a means to kill someone with a granite hummingbird, because that's fun.
Put it on the arrow tip of one of Riona's arrows. There you go. Give it a little extra
Unless
flight
it's
that way.
flying itself, that would be some weird weight on it.
Right?
I mean, you can just
That's
send
where-
the thing
If
at
it's
someone's
a bird,
face.
do I get to
Yeah.
control it too?
I mean,
Okay, hold on.
With our powers combined.
I mean, because if it's a statue of a bird, then both of you can control it.
And I'll keep it aloft, and Riona will aim it. And
Well, I mean, yeah, if
that'd
it's
be
a
great.
I mean, if you see carved plants, I guess theoretically Riona's plant magic could work on that.
That'd be
And
cool.
Well,
Pax will create a distraction in the side by going, ah! Doing our thing
I mean,
again.
it's like I think that's fun in a metaphysical
Group
sense.
attack.
Like, is it a statue? Is it a plant? Well, it's a statue of a plant, so
Yes.
It's just a Persona
Yes.
5 style all out attack.
I mean, oh, I love it. That's so good.
Um,
It's like, now I'm picturing a Darren and Alwyn not agreeing on who to attack with the granite hummingbird.
Perfection.
I think
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say for the record that Darren would have reached out to some of her clients, like the flagship clients of like the specialty ink stuff that she does, including
Oh, sure.
Blackweather. Be like, are
Yeah.
you okay?
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think a few
Absolutely.
hours later, after Alan's been working on statues, he would actually go over to Blackweather's as well, because Blackweather still got books, and Alan likes to read.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the whole block around Blackwithers is like Temple Market had a lot of people in it, and a lot of it's like, again, that whole parade route, and that rumor that the goddess had died passed kind of like wildfire through that crowd. And the closer you got to Temple Market, then it's just a lot of people and crowds, and there's a lot of folks that died in Temple Market just from trampling of like bad concert scene kind of situation. 'Cause I'm just picturing in my head, and it's not a great picture of like all those crowds that go to watch the Pope speak at Vatican City, and if there was a stampede, and that's what happens when you have an evil god attack your goddess and partially succeed, and anyway, so there's a lot of glass that's broken, there is scorch marks on buildings, there is damage to stonework and things like that. Eversink is always in a constant state of rebuilding, though, so it's kind of one of those kind of walking going, this will be expensive, but the Brivio family will be doing fine. They'll rebuild their own house first, but but I mean, if I remember right, there was an entire bridge in one of the opening sequences a couple of weeks ago that just where a bridge fell, it just caught fire and fell into the canal. So that's at least one. But yeah, Blackweather seems kind of almost unscathed, except the sign is in the street. Normally like the little kind of almost kind of Western medieval sort of those hanging signs with like it says Blackweather's on it and has just like the book and quill is on the ground because the chains holding it have snapped or it's been yanked down or something. And you go in and knock, and basically there's you can hear kind of thumping footsteps, and it sounds like a very, very heavy bar being moved away from the door before Severin kind of opens it and what?
I came in to see Blackweather. You okay?
We are safe. He's very busy.
Okay.
New city government, you see. Lots of contracts.
Right. Oh, so weird thing I want to touch on. Do I remember Blackweather being a Triskadane?
Triskadane? No. No. Blackweather not a member of the Triskadane. That, as far as you know.
Was that the note in your book? Was it Blackweather that you were suspecting?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and strike that.
Cool.
I mean, here's my thing is that, something that you got out of the contract is that the members of the Triskadane are no longer magically anonymous. But that doesn't mean that their names are published in the paper either. They're just going to have to maintain their secrecy in normal everyday espionage style rather than being immediately forgotten by people. So and a lot of the scuttlebutt, I guess, and this would be for you guys both have scurrilous rumors, so between Adarin and Alwyn
I do not.
Oh, you don't? Well, Adarin,
I have 2 ranks in scurrilous rumors.
Yeah, fair enough. So the secrets of Adarin is that the scuttlebutt.
No, I have 1. Sorry, I almost raised it, and I raised Forgotten Lore instead.
There you go. Fair. Also useful. But yeah, the generally the scuttlebutt, and this is probably kind of from your mother or just conversations, breakfast with other folks or with Marlowe, that the suspicion was that on signing day there would be a little bit of upheaval in the Triskadane. There often is, but now that after what happened, the scuttlebutt is that there's a major upheaval and that almost no one who had a coin before has one now. So I was there's a certain amount of I could understand the goddess thinking, well, under this last government I got shot, so let's try somebody new. I'm now just picturing Denari on Goddess's Island with just random people she pulls over for no reason, just like got shot right here, got shot. We saw it's Then they wake up from the dream, can't tell anyone.
I was going to ask, well, with the new government going into action, maybe there's a way I can help out.
Well, I will put word in, and perhaps Blackweather will put in good word, and you would like a job, huh? Well, what you want to be? You want to be Black Swan? We promote you to City Assassin?
Oh God, no. I am the wrong person for that. I just honestly right now I would just like to get inside. Y'all, there's a few books I want to check out as well.
Oh, you're here for books. Okay.
I'm always here for books. You know me. I'm always here for the books.
Yes. Very suspicious.
Oh.
Come in.
Mm-hmm.
I watch
Here's a bag of beans for you. Just a little 1 pound bag.
He kind of look. Is fine ground.
It's
good,
fine.
It must be good for the roofing coffee.
It is fine ground. It's perfect for the little fucking brass thing that y'all push across coals and boil it up, and then add the 1 lump of sugar in.
Hey, you make your weak coffee your way. I make it the right way.
You listen.
Can a Darren show up at this point? Just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
right
it's
there
like-
to be like, oh, are you making coffee? I would love some.
kind of looks down with the little bit of coffee he has and says,
It's enough for 10 cups.
I know. He's like, I suppose I am making coffee.
Thank you, Severin. You're a gem. I've got black with his ink.
Oh, he will be happy to hear it. Please.
Please let me in before people see me standing here and mob me again.
Hi, Darren.
Hi, Alwyn. Please, Severin.
Severin.
Just like hurried in, like shuts the door, and just like breathes a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I mean, I'm imagining that you're also noticing that there is a good bit of, particularly depending on the part of the city, there's a good bit of sentiment in like the poorer parts of town that this is all the nobility's fault and the Mercari.
Really?
Fuck them both.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Alderhall didn't burn down. Iron Cross is fine. Yeah, the rich people, their houses are great.
Yeah, it's amazing what money can buy you.
Yeah, my house burnt down. My business burnt down. How am I going to feed my kids? No idea.
Should have paid greater tribute to the goddess.
But I bet you, if I bust into some Mercari's warehouse, I'll find some food or something I can sell. So I mean, there's
And the
there's
Macari
a
should
lot
definitely hire better guards, but that's their problem, not mine.
of there's grumbling is all. Well, I'm just that. How well is a Darren dressed when she goes out in the streets? Is I guess the question.
I think she's probably about as well dressed as she ever is, which is like you can tell that anyone can tell like across the square that these are like well tailored clothing. Like this is clothing that like not only was made for her, it has been like further tailored to her.
Sure.
And I think like you across the street, you can tell that these are quality material. That like this is fine leather, this is fine wool, this is fine linen.
I mean, you did spend 5 wealth on lifestyle, so
yes.
that's
But I think you'd
that's...
actually have to be within like speaking distance of her to see that they are like really elaborately decorated. Because like it's always like embroidery the same color on top of itself so that it's not super obvious. And she doesn't really wear a lot of like flashy jewelry, and her hair is up in kind of like a severe style, and she wears like minimal makeup and doesn't really have like an entourage when she walks places and stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah, but
people
she
can tell
afford...
she has money, but it's kind of ambiguous as to how much, and like is she Mercari or is she nobility until you can like see her ring that she wears.
Yeah, and then but I think there's that high repute is a great bonus among the nobility. Among people that aren't nobility, you flip that positive negative sign. So yeah, there's probably some. I would understand. Yeah, that Let Me In Severin. It's kind of there's not like a pack of hoodlums following you or anything, but there are probably folks that maybe for like a block or two, and Darren's probably been walking pretty quickly.
Oh, if that would happen, I'd just step into the shadows and then they wouldn't be able to find me.
Yeah.
I was thinking that there's probably some people who are like, oh, it's Darren, like, because of my social thing, and they're like wanting to talk to me, and I'm just like, oh my God, leave me alone. I am used to being anonymous.
I mean, basically, I think above a certain like station, yes, like other nobility, and like there are Mercari that absolutely want some of Darren's time. There's probably some good bit of work that Pax isn't actually able to do work, and is more like, okay, so you were actually talking to the goddess? That whole water cooler thing of you've probably had to tell that story like 8-9 times in the, each day for like the past 5 days kind of thing of different people when you're working and like, hang on. Mercurio hasn't heard this. Come here. Pax, tell him. Tell him how you got stuck. The creepy part. That was great.
I don't like telling that part.
But it's a good ghost story.
Yeah, it wasn't a good experience.
Okay, fair. But you're okay, so and you got to talk to the goddess.
Yeah.
What's she like? What's her favorite color? Do you know? Did you ask?
No,
Oh man.
I was a little busy.
Fair.
I didn't want to die or not be able to come back. I was a little distracted, didn't have time to do bonding.
Okay. Next time, if you get a chance.
Next time I'm stuck being stalked by a shadowy demon with the goddess, I will definitely ask what her favorite color is.
Cool. I bet it's blue. Anyway.
Not gold.
Not. Yeah.
Yes, guys, like, yeah, okay. Yeah, somebody else is like, are you kidding? Of course it's gold, stupid. Oh, well, okay, fine. Blue's a good color, and there's like this argument kind of walks off. It's just,
Blue is a good color.
Yes.
Anyway. That's just probably some teen magazine, just every so often. The goddess's favorite foods, or top 10 things.
Fiona
Like
probably
after...
knows the answers to that and is never going to tell anybody.
Yeah, there's probably just weird craps that's like left behind in your head. Just that's fun. Yeah.
So
I may have to use that later. Yeah.
Is there any kind of like, I don't know, in my head there's like a ceremony to like thank the people who like saved the goddess and saved Eversink. Don't know if that happens, but
a lot of that depends on the kind of anonymity that the folks involved want, I suppose. I mean, I've got to imagine that was proposed, though there's a lot of folks in the room that were like, really? You want to have another citywide ceremony now? Really?
Yeah. Also, I think
Something
Darren would have
small,
like
maybe a plaque.
She would have tipped off the city guard and the church militant about the crossbowman, because she knows who it is and where he was.
Okay.
Probably would have sent it through Oleander, because she very much does not want to answer questions about how she knows that. to anonymously pass along this information like immediately in hopes that he could be caught.
I mean, so yeah, but I mean that conversation that's going to be interesting. Like, okay, so I want to understand. There's a guy that shot the goddess.
Yes, I told you there was the time loop, and I
yeah.
caught him the first time, but the second time he was a better shot, and there wasn't time.
Okay. You sure it was him?
Absolutely certain.
Okay, and she's kind of like, I will get you with someone who basically puts you with the sketch artist.
Nope. Will not do it. You have the information you need.
Okay, so I guess there's gonna be a point. She's gonna actually probably start, kind of grilling you, in a kind of very much a very. She kind of turns on soldier mode. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, okay, what do you look like?
I will answer like all
tall,
of her questions,
like this,
and I will tell her everything that I learned when I like ripped his memories open, and pass on all
got,
of
like, a
that,
sketchbook.
but I will
She's
not
got a
talk to
notebook
anyone
and a
but her,
sketchbook.
and my name is just like not going to be a part of this.
But okay, but I get it. It's stressful, and all right. No, that's okay. It would be helpful if you could talk to some of these folks, but because they may be able to ask more specific things that I'm not thinking of right now. But I don't want to stress you out. And okay, we'll work with what
very
we
much
have.
do not want to answer questions about how I know these things.
What if I have questions about how you know?
That's a different conversation that you and I will have at some point, but not right
Yeah.
now. So
But we will have it.
yes, I promise.
Okay. She's like, she kind of like closes the notebook and kind of like this little, not like a little spiral, but it's got a little leather tie around it. And in the process of tying, she kind of ties the charcoal little pencil. This is like basically just a chunk of charcoal, like an artist charcoal, the closest thing of anybody. What she uses as a pencil, she's kind of do that because she can sketch that way too. Anyway, we got that little book and kind of tucks it away in a pouch. All right, fine. Change topic. How's your family?
Reveling in my newfound status.
Surely they're also newfound status, right?
Well, yes.
Ink in the contract and
yes, but it's a little I'm the youngest daughter. I'm not supposed to, achieve this kind of acclaim and eclipse my older sister.
Well, I mean, your mom hasn't given you the business or anything, right?
No, and I would have refused it if she did.
So then it's still, you're gonna be your sister's thing. You know,
it's about to get more complicated, I think. The Brivios have been by. And
okay. What,
Ira
asking for
very
money,
much
or-
wanted to marry a Brivio and couldn't.
You wanted to marry a Brivio?
Ira wanted
Which
to.
one? Okay. And now the family's coming around asking about you.
Yes.
Okay. I could see that being a little tense.
Ira's marriage isn't happy, so I can't see any positive outcome of this.
I mean, look, I don't know the family well. I haven't done security for anything for them, but I mean, well, they seem fine. They build bridges. That's solid. I mean, literally.
They're very full of themselves. They're very arrogant because they build bridges, as you said, which is always needed here. They've held on to wealth when most of the rest of us haven't, and they don't let anyone forget it.
Sounds like every other Mercari family.
Well, they're nobility.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. So are you entertaining marrying into asshole family, or
Publicly we're not quite that far, thankfully, but interfering and creating marriages for his children is my father's favorite hobby. So
I mean, just asking for a friend,
I wrote a letter. Are you getting promoted?
not that I know of, but it's been a busy couple of days. I mean, let me tell you, Sag Harbor is not in good shape. The tangle is awful. There's a market priest we're working with down there, and his church is just full of people all the time. And yeah, they don't have any place to go. It's really, I mean, I've fought in the Serpentine, and we've been through towns that have been like the Pirates of Men have been through there, and just whoever's left is just in a state. They're just kind of not all there. And there are people in the Tangle, and there are people in that church that are just, they have lost everything. They have nothing. No home, no food, no job. Family members missing, possibly dead, probably dead. It's really rough. And you know, sometimes you can't do anything about it. You know, we're there to, like, there are work crews, and my squad has been like trying to make sure that they don't get mobbed for, you know, because there are folks that are trying to rebuild their homes. They will literally steal the materials from the work crews that are trying to rebuild homes to take it so they can rebuild their own. And I have to back them off. That doesn't feel good.
No.
Doesn't feel good. Man. All right. Well,
is it all mundane in nature?
I mean, you really want to talk about the weird stuff? I mean, there's some.
Do you have evidence or suspicions of sorcerers?
I mean, not necessarily related to like rioting in the Tangle, but there's
To what you're doing now. Are there people taking advantage of the situation?
With sorcery?
Yes.
If they are not in like walls of creepy, I don't know. I mean, it would be weird. I don't know.
So no.
Not that I.
Okay.
I mean,
that's good.
Have I been mind controlled? I don't know. But I mean, there's not like people magically setting crap on fire. I mean, as far as we've been able to tell, the fires happen for completely, I don't know, flint and steel and accelerant and wood, yes. and oil and candles getting knocked over. And
I'll see if I can't divert some support your way.
I mean, it's not everybody needs it, you know.
But
I appreciate you supporting me, but
it would help everyone else too. So
yeah, I don't really want to buy a promotion.
You didn't. You earned it. I'm making sure you get the recognition.
We held the door. That's any squad would do that.
You kept the goddess safe through the Undercity.
I remember the goddess holding her own when that lobster thing rose up out of the water, but
that's far from the only danger in the Undercity.
I mean,
you got her out of the carriage, you got us out of the carriage, you did the work, and it isn't only you. I named every single person in your unit as also being exemplary.
All right, well, okay. I just don't pull strings just because, okay? Please.
I'm not sure you understand what the nobility do.
I mean, please. Pretty please.
Only if you stop pulling strings to protect me.
Getting me cushier assignments is not equivalent to keeping you from dying.
I'm not giving you cushier assignments. You're getting more responsibility. You'll be in charge of more people who rely on you.
Which will
And look up to
eventually
you.
push me. And if that pushes me into an office, I'm going to be mad. Just telling you now.
Well, what do you think you would be doing as the wife of a noblewoman?
Whatever the fuck we want. Going hunting in Capria? I don't know.
If you want to, sure. But I am going to divert some support your way. It likely won't be a lot. It'll probably just be some yelling urchins and orphans in the street. But they're good lookouts.
Tommy.
You'll know them. They'll tell you a little bit something.
Okay. And God knows we could use material support, equipment. Feeding the troops isn't all right. This is how these are going to go, aren't they? We're going to have disagreements until you win. Is that mm-hmm. Pulls out a wineskin and says, I can do that. I can do that. But all right. Okay, well, now I have a new goal.
What's that?
Argue with you enough to win one.
Oh,
That's the bonus. I get to spend time with you.
that is.
I'm gonna need a lot. I'm gonna need a lot of practice.
You will indeed. But,
I wasn't. My family and the way. Speaking of practice, you've grown up with this and this doing that, and I have not, and made my way with the spear and the shield. So let me know if I'm ever more direct than I should be, particularly with your folks, because I do not want them mad at me.
I think there's a little chance of that. They'll be far more likely to be mad at me, but I know how to handle that. Just make no mistake, it's just as warlike amongst the nobility. It's just a different type of fighting.
You're right. That's the kind I don't know.
You didn't know how to do this at one point. And I'll just gesture at all the gear and stuff.
You just gestured at all of me. Yeah, I just look. There are drills where if you don't learn fast enough, you get the absolute mess beat out of you, and
you can say shit around me. It's fine.
I just don't want to get the metaphorical shit beat out of me by your noble family and friends, because I'm not. I don't want them using me to get at you.
They wouldn't dare.
That makes sense.
I'll make sure of
Now
it.
I was gonna say, now hang on. You just told me this is how they. Okay. We're having another one, aren't we? All right. I'm just gonna go straight to the end. Anyway, and you have a a nice lunch and
Mhm.
entertaining afternoon kind of
Yep.
thing.
And it's just like that over and over. Since Darren does get what she wants.
Yep, I figured that.
Yeah,
that
and
was
then
part of
I'll
the
go and
dynamic.
like find Nunzio and make sure he's all right. Be like,
Interesting, okay.
hey, so I need you to send whoever you can spare, even if it's just Shouty Tommy, to go back up the soldiers in Tangle and Sag Harbor.
Well, I mean, the sunken arena is in Sag Harbor.
Okay,
In
yeah.
fact, the sunken arena is basically on the last little bit of land left in Sag Harbor.
Excellent.
And
Then I'll
it's
be like,
called-
you're gonna use your, I know you want order here because it's better for everyone. So I need you to back up the city guard and the church militant who are working here.
Well, I mean, when you come into the sunken arena, there aren't any fights going on. I mean, the and all of like the rooms and stuff that are for fighters and the fight there are very few fighters there. There's a handful that are like outside the door and in the street, like a block. You get like a block and a half of equivalent of a block and a half. This is not a place that's organized into blocks by any means. There's not that much city planning, particularly in Sag Harbor. But for a good 2-3 minutes out from the arena, you have enough awareness to like see a couple of folks that are like scarred up like pit fighters, have their hands wrapped already and things like that, are just kind of lounging, sort of doing that lean against the wall, I ain't doing nothing, officer, kind of thing. But they're keeping an eye on the street. And you get closer to the arena, there's a couple more at the door and stuff like that. Inside, there are a lot of people, a lot of refugees, a lot of folks. The floor of the arena has like bunks on it and like bedrolls on the floor and things like that. Seats are, where they can be, have been. Most of them are like kind of, it's real kind of Greek Roman amphitheater sort of things. That there aren't seats, but just the floor is cut to
Yeah.
So there are people are like kind of sleeping on those and stuff like that. There are little families that have kind of you can tell that they're kind of family groups or whatever, where their stuff is all together and stuff like that. And yeah, when you finally get in to see Nunzio, he's like, okay, well, I'd love to help
the guard, not against.
I'd love to, well, yeah, no, I mean, City Watch, we helping them put out fires, but couldn't save most of the harbor. You'd think wet wood would burn slower, but it's inside the wood and particularly when there's rot, then just.
They're here to help rebuild, but those efforts will be slow for everyone if people keep stealing the materials from each other forever.
Who the fuck? Give me names.
Maybe if you kept an eye on the materials, you would find that for yourself.
Yeah? No, that'll happen. And look, I can see if I can muster some help with the city.
Just,
and look, Meryl,
provide what support you can to back them up. It doesn't have to be direct. Just make sure their efforts aren't hampered.
It can be, though, because I know you can keep a secret, right, Meryl?
I'm exceptionally good at it.
I'm going to give you one.
Oh, I love things for free.
Oh, I didn't say it was free. But we'll talk about what it is later. And he pulls a little chain out from his neck. It's new. And on the chain is dangling a golden coin.
Dang!
With a swan on it.
Oh, cool. Why would I rob him?
That is
That'd be
the
a bad
opposite
idea.
of productive. That's a
And
bad
at that
plan.
point, while my players go crazy and my cat jumps on the desk, we're going to go to break.
For the podcast listeners, I just shouted in chat, rob his ass right now.
No. Everyone, welcome back to Swords of the Serpentine, to Denari's Half Dozen. I'm Commander Pulsar. This is the crew. We are dealing with the aftermath of the of signing day, where the goddess was almost assassinated, where the city was almost burnt to the ground, and where the god of hurricanes almost wiped the entire setting of our game off the map. But now it's more of picking up the pieces and putting the city back together. So yeah, in that process, our Lady Adarin Lagario is visiting the Sunken Arena and visiting El Rospo, the Toad, Nunzio Carbone, who is a head of a thieves guild, a head of and now part of the city government. Who'd have thunk it? But yeah, in an effort, I think, believed to convince Nunzio to help the people of the city, and Nunzio's like, step ahead of you. But
Aren't you moving up in the world?
I mean, thanks, and thanks to the goddess, I guess. This is not something I was looking for, but maybe that's why it found me. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, no, we'll keep an eye out. And look, yeah, I'm not. If they're protecting workers who are trying to rebuild homes, then yeah, we'll make sure their materials don't get stolen. I get it, though. You know, these are people who are desperate and they're looking for, my pa would say, whenever you see somebody stealing food, no, you didn't. So somebody's stealing a tarp so they have a roof over their head, no, they didn't. We'll get them new tarps. I'll get them new tarps. But I send word. I got some ships coming in from Capria, some stuff from Came, but yeah. So hopefully, there's this guy in the foreign district. It came in. He's an inventor, and I don't know if you saw the balloons. That's what he's calling them. Those big leather bags that's he putting hot air in and like flying up over the city. Do you know that he attached hoses to that thing? I had a couple of guys working pumps for him and just pumping canal water up to put fires out.
Clever.
The dude damn near killed himself. That balloon fell down. That'd been hilarious. Well, not hilarious because that would have been bad.
A little funny.
Yeah, okay, funny because it didn't happen. Funny because it didn't happen to us, right?
You're
yeah,
right.
it's okay.
Exactly. All I'm asking is just support a more organized effort that the church and city guard are trying to do. Because if we're organized about rebuilding, it happens faster. Everyone gets what they need faster.
We'll put word out because, like I said, I was about to say this coin isn't magic, but that would be a lie. But it's not a magic wand. I can't just make people. I'm not a sorcerer. Anyway, if anybody tells you, they look. I get that a little bit because of, and he kind of indicates like his warty skin and is just kind of it's a condition. It's not corruption, okay? Anyway, not important. So, but there are other families, and some of them are not as protective and scrupulous as I am. But
if there's a priority list that the church militant should be aware of, I'm sure they'd be happy to work with you.
Well, I mean, right now, what we've been prioritizing is what I've been prioritizing, particularly here, is stuff for the community as a whole. Places like,
Nunzio, I trust you. You don't need to give me all of those details. I clearly don't live here and don't know this part of the city very well. Just work with them. That's all I'm asking. You don't even need to flash your pretty little coin. Just tell them a little bird sent you.
Are you sure you're from a noble family?
I have
'Cause
told you
that-
explicitly many times I'm not.
I was
It's
gonna
just
say,
Meryl.
because that sounded awfully magnanimous for fair. You're good people, Meryl.
Don't go spreading that around.
Oh no, your secret's safe with me.
You better be. Good luck,
Well, I
Nunzio.
mean, you know, I'll tell you this: price hasn't been high enough. That's for sure.
And I'll just smile at him. And it better, and it never will be.
Well, look, I would never miss out on the opportunity for you to give me a counter offer.
I'm sure you wouldn't. Good luck. Take care. We'll be in
Be
touch.
safe. Be safe.
As much as I
best
can
you
be.
And he's kind of like, and you know, it's that he kind of goes back and he appears to be like, he's not in that entertainer mode. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's kind of one of those, the whole meeting is like, yeah, but that it's like he's probably been, you kind of walk out of there going, that suit was a nice suit, but he's probably been wearing it for a day or two. You know, it's kind of like more tired. He didn't have the same kind of energy he did the last time. Just kind of I'm entertaining my friend. It's more of a whoa. And yeah. But yeah, so yeah, back on, it is not hard to feel safe, at least within a certain radius of the sunken arena, because now that you know what's going on, it's like, oh, these guys are watching out for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, there are fighters that are out kind of on the street just making sure that, you know, but look, you can rob people in about a week or two when everybody has a home to rob. So knock that shit off right now.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah, and I guess now I know Riona has an ally in the, shall we say, alternatively human, on the alternatively human community.
Yeah.
So at what point, how does that do y'all like, I mean, how do you contact somebody like that? Is there, and I guess my other question is what kind of alternative human are we talking about here?
These are questions that I have not actually thought of answers for.
Okay, fair enough. I'm that, because I'm thinking like a ratacan would be, and where rats are very interesting in sort of the Serpentine. So it'd be kind of like meeting somebody underground, and yeah. So do they maybe pass notes or?
Probably a combination of notes and like leaving messages with specific people, like code word type things.
Yeah, I'm thinking, is there maybe a dead drop spot, or just kind of, because it's something along the lines of this particular mailbox, if there's an X on it or whatever, go to the park and or something, you know what I mean? Those kind of espionage movie sort of things of kind of. So yeah, I mean, so Riona kind of walking around the neighborhood and there's the signal is there. Do you kind of pull up short, or is that kind of a right, okay, not going to draw attention to that, just keep walking kind of thing, or I mean, because it probably hasn't happened in a while.
Okay.
I mean, since before the flesh tangle, really, unless you've approached them. Very rarely do they reach out anyway.
Yeah, she made sure to check on them and make sure that like she ran errands for them shortly after the flesh tangle incident.
Mm-hmm.
But she would probably stop short at first and then try not to draw a lot of attention to it.
Okay.
Like to that specific sign.
It's kind of like a double take and then pass it off as looking around the room or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like the. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, just every once in a while you look to see if you're getting ambushed. You never know.
I mean, Rihanna probably has people stare at her a lot with the kintsugi stuff going on.
Tattoos.
And tattoos, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that's probably because it is more obvious. It's not something you can necessarily hide. So yeah, there's probably been some looks even among the Von Tavni of like,
what did you do?
Well, I mean, right? Because yeah, there's absolutely that.
And I bet no one would believe her if she just casually was like, "Oh, I absorbed a goddess."
I mean, but yeah, as I say, there's like and I'm gonna write this.
Wait, I imagine if she ever did that, people would just be like, "Ha, no, really,
right? Yeah,
what
sure.
happened?"
Good one. Really, what happened? Gotcha. I'll write this down. Right. So, but yeah, one of like the kind of the older women of the tribe, the kind of that it is collectively called it kind of grandmother Samilton or whatever, like not Khan, because that's obviously kind of higher rank, but kind of the matriarch of like the neighborhood clan kind of thing.
Right.
And it's the name that means breeze dawn, but she's like an older woman, like in her 60s, but because Von Tavni and because she has also kind of maintained that and definitely been in her prime, very Riona-ish, I guess. So I'm thinking more like older Von Tavni woman in the like Ming Na in her 60s, or Michelle Yeoh in her 60s. Like, yeah, okay, sure, she's 62 and could still wipe the floor with me, kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of one of those. There may even be do you guys maybe you spar? I don't know. Is that a thing? I mean, just kind of she doesn't like. No, I'm going to say that her daughter runs like a dojo or a kind of a fighting school kind of thing, or maybe even a riding school for teaching like not a school necessarily, but like a service of like so that noble families even in everything. I was
gonna say that seems like something that would be popular with the noble families because
their kids
horses are a little harder to find here.
Yeah, but I mean, for somebody who has to, or Mercari that have to travel,
mm-hmm.
so that they don't, look like a complete idiot on a horse or whatever, or fall off of it. I'll give you basic riding. It makes enough money doing that to keep going or whatever. But yeah, that maybe she's the one that provides Riona with the occasional opportunity to ride a horse. It's like, yeah, we have a little like outside the city. It's probably actually in Caprian territory, which honestly isn't far. It's really because Eversink is in the middle of the estuary of the River Serpentine. River Serpentine is the northern border of Capria. So, it's just right there kind of thing that maybe they've got some. It's not the best land. It's kind of swampy, but it is solid enough. But anyway, it's kind of one of those just opportunity which kind of has your hands and kind of does this. And so she can see your arms. It's like, what happened? There's that's powerful magic. That is. Did you kill it?
No.
Okay. Why not? I mean, obviously you survived, so just ran away, or?
I was trying to save it.
And it did this to you.
Yeah. But I survived.
Some grateful, I guess. All right, well. At least the city's goddess has an eye on you.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to protect you from stuff like that. That really? Okay.
Next time, probably.
There's always a next time. You warrior types. It's next time until there's not a next time.
Yeah.
Why you train? All right. Fine then. Get back up on the horse. Let's see you shoot.
All right. So Riona, I'll do that.
Gonna get that little kind of montage of all right, little mounted combat. I just feel like that's part of that's a thing that you got to get in your got to get out of your system every once in a while, because this city is just not.
City is too crowded.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Riona does a whole lot of like on the rooftops and kind of things like that, just because the streets are too crowded.
Yeah. She never spent a ton of time in the capital back home.
Sure.
It was like visiting every so often. So she's not a huge fan of all of the people everywhere.
God, I imagine the crowds for signing day was awful. Fair. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I just picturing the idea of everyone like going somewhere and they like leave the house to go, and Riona just goes up. Everybody's like walking on the streets, and then they get there and just yeah, okay, we're here. Is that really necessary? Yes.
Yes.
Do it your way, I'll do it mine. But yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it's in this meeting place. This is a guy. I mean, it is like kind of the spot is like down on a canal, like literally on the canal water, not like lapping your boot, but kind of like right that lowest level of the city, under a bridge, in shadow, kind of right near a tunnel or whatever. It's like I hate to ask, but well, you know how things are bad upstairs, right?
Yeah.
I've got a whole community that has no water, or the water they have. There was an aquifer. It's spoiled.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, and you should probably look at it, because I think it might be sorcery.
Show me.
And it kind of, again, it's one of those this way, and just straight in sewer grate, he just opens it up and goes in and down, and there is like a maze of passages. There's a maze of twisty passages all alike, to make a Zork reference for everyone. Anyway, and kind of, yeah, it looks like an old cistern. It would have been like a street level cistern at some point, like a well or whatever, and it's been turned into like underground water. There are pipes that lead up, probably to someone's home. So this whole community is essentially stealing water. At least the nobility would say so, anyway. And and the were-rats care not for your rules, I guess.
Nah.
But yeah, you can feel corruption when you come into the room, though. There has been magic here that has been externalized, or corruption, but sorcery has been used, and the corruption just kind of dumped and left there. And it's a really gross feeling. That I got to imagine, Brianna, just if you use sorcery, you've got to you know what it feels like. And because but it probably has been a while because it's so frowned upon in Eversync and stuff like that it's just that's the thing. Technically in Eversync, sorcery isn't the problem. Denari's Holy Writ and tax code isn't necessarily down on sorcery. It's down on corrupting the world and the body of the goddess. That's the part that's not okay. Now, does that turn into suspicion of sorcery? Yes, because really you just have the sorcerer's word that I'm always going to internalize my corruption. I'm never going to externalize it, stain the world. Well, I mean, we have your word for that, and that's it. So, which is why people are just like, all right, well, and there are enough bad sorcerers that I promise I will never corrupt and stain the world unless it's convenient. So sorcerers get a bad name. But technically it's
sorcery is not the problem.
Correct. It's just it's corrupting though. I mean, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And nearly absolute power is really tempting. And if you do sorcery enough, there's gonna be a time it's like, I don't want a tail. So So this time, just this once, I'll clean it up afterwards, I promise.
Eventually, you just don't want to.
Yeah, and then eventually you just don't want to clean up after yourself. And then your roommates have to do it, which is about as far as this metaphor goes. And the roommates being the church militant, and they find you and, they clean up your mess after you, and then they put you in a cage and hang you out in the harbor for the, flesh-eating seagulls.
Yeah. Which is why you don't externalize corruption.
I mean, there you go. Lesson for the kids. Just the moral of the story. What goal? I'm just seeing Alwyn's unless.
I'm just waiting for the part where it becomes convenient.
I mean, I'm trying to push you into those situations, my friend. That is the goal.
Ooh.
If I get to find the grounds where I get to corrupt a god's altar, I may or may not go ahead and be like, yeah, fuck it. We don't need that.
F that fish god. Got it.
Yeah, basically. No one likes fish anyway.
Would Denari really get mad at you if you did that?
Riona, you would actually, of all the people in this Zoom call, you would actually know the answer to this. The answer would be yes, because the fish god's altar is still in Eversync and therefore still part of her body. So
technically, yes.
Yes. I'll just find a storm god altar, and
would she get over it? Probably, but yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Is that, and Pax would be the one to tell you that small corruptions will heal on their own. It's the really big ones that become real problems, and sometimes externalized corruption, if it's big enough, doesn't get smaller over time. It gets larger, and then you get entire parts of the landscape, like the destroyed plateau where the Serpentine Empire used to be. So
again, don't externalize your corruption.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying it is a slippery slope, and the slippery slope is on one of those roller coasters.
Oh yeah. Totally.
And there are probably some loops and parts of that where where the cars fly off the rails, and yeah, it's.
So the corruption here
Mhm.
How bad does it seem?
Okay. So
And does it seem like there's anything that I can do to fix the problem at hand?
Fixing the corruption would take spirit sight.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm gonna have to go pester Pax about that.
Yeah, Pax would be the person that you would have to pester about how bad it is too, but it doesn't feel like it's growing. So, and honestly, if it was, the ones that grow are ones that open like corruption wounds that are the size of city blocks. So this is probably a smaller something, but it is enough to cause a problem with the water. It's it looks like kind of black spores in it. With plants, you could I would say that something that you can tell is the magic and the corruption has made some of like the normal living things in the water larger and monstrous. So imagine like microbes that have now gained like evil superpowers and are now the size of your fist, kind of thing. Or or at least like pebble size. They're much larger and they're growing and eating one another. This is how slimes get born.
Fun.
So, yeah, and the little baby ones, you probably, if you kind of scooped it together with one of those pool things, you could probably get a little slime like right now and have a pet. That's what we need. That's what.
Tank.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Brandon. There's merch for us. Is our little
Pet slime.
You see a little pet slime with like
our
little
corrupted
teethies
pet
on
slime.
it.
Yep.
Gotta have
Yep.
the teethies.
Though I gotta say, I mean, Black Paramecium is actually the name of my Sisters of Mercy cover band. So
Are any of these things in the water actually plants that I can deal with?
That gets it. Are microbes plants? Some of them are, yes. I mean, because they've got like the ones that like chlorophyll and so yeah, probably. I'm saying you probably not. You could probably do something about the things in the water. It maybe not make the water safe to drink, but certainly make it
But
safe
at least
to get the
clear
water.
up that.
Yeah. You can make the water safe to get water without being eaten by some kind of slime. That would probably be a bonus.
That would probably be a good thing. The Radican would probably appreciate that.
I mean, yeah. I say you kind of get there, and he brings you in, and there are like a couple of other people, two male, and they look like people. They're not there's not a hey, these are half rat people. They're not just hanging out but they're armored up though, but they've got like one woman has this like sword and shield and just kind of there by the the edge of the cistern, just kind of not like she's probably relaxed a little bit by now, but they're kind of they're armed, like they're prepared to fight something.
Right.
So yeah. But
because apparently the things in the water are alive.
And oh yes, and they kind of come together, and it's like they fight, and then there's just one, or one eats the other, and then it gets bigger. Or they're having sex.
I would be pointing a sword at that too.
I mean, I have no idea what evil plant things do. So I won't
they
really
go away. I would like to make them go away.
Okay, how are you doing that? I mean, what's the yes, but what spell effect are you looking for here? Do you want to just break them up, disintegrate them, or I mean, that's a thing. I mean, their plant. It's control a plant includes destroying plants. Like this hedge is in my way, flap, kind of thing. So if you can do that to hedges and trees and shrubbery and stuff, I'm pretty sure that evil paramecium are probably also on the list of things you can destroy with plants. I'm trying to think if this is just like a general. I'm almost thinking, I guess sorcery. I'm trying to, but it's not like. I'm just saying if this is using sorcery to do something to do with a general skill, in which case you wouldn't need that corruption wouldn't have to be involved, kind of thing. I'm just there might be. I mean, if you use plant magic to fight them, maybe I don't know. But if you're just trying to like, I just want to zap them out of the water. That's
that's the easiest.
Yeah, I mean, Alwyn could electrify them. That would be.
I don't know that yet.
Yeah,
Y'all don't know that yet. What are you talking about? I got shocked. I can't shock things.
Makes the water staticky.
I mean, yeah, I just see Alwyn getting ready. Hang on, I got to take my shoes off. Zap. I just, oh man, that. Please do that to a bad guy at some point. Just for drama, like you're ready to cast like this massive lightning. I'm gonna put all 3 points of corruption behind this lightning bolt. Cool. And take my socks off and just scoot over the carpet. Pop. Anyway, I apologize for your ears, everyone. That's anyway, but yeah. So yeah, okay. I think sorcery is fine, and like okay, but I don't know if that makes the water better. That's it.
Probably not. I don't know what I can do about the water itself.
You know anyone that? I mean, I know who usually. I know who usually deals with corruption, and if you let us know if that's the path you want to take, so that we can be far, far away from. Because, well, you know, we don't get along well with the goddess or her people.
I know someone who can deal with the corruption here. I don't plan to add more.
Right. But I'm saying usually it's the church. They shrink it with prayer.
Right.
Whatever. And commerce. Well, we're not doing a lot of commerce here, so. But okay.
I'll let you know when I bring them down.
You need to call someone in. Okay. Yeah. Okay. How about just signal at the usual place, and we'll clear it out and maybe clear a path. And okay.
Great.
And they basically kind of take you back so that you have and this way coming back is a little slower. Is like just in case you need to find it and we can't take you there.
Mm-hmm.
We're just kind of like, all right, here, and like he has chalk. It's kind of like marking corners and stuff like that. With obviously making a symbol that you can recognize or whatever, and so on, so that you've got a marked path to get back to this underground cistern and stuff. But yeah.
Do I need to spend any points or roll anything for cleaning the water or clearing it out? Well,
yeah, go ahead and make a sorcery check. We'll see how well we clear out the water.
All right. I am going to use all my sorcery of 4 points because.
Okay.
I want to.
All right. No, it's fine. And fair enough.
So let's see. That's a +4.
Yeah, it's a +4, which is nice. That's.
I rolled a 1.
Good. Well, good
so
thing.
5.
Okay. Yeah, there's like the water kind of bubbles, and there are like broken bits, and they kind of break apart like dried leaves on the top of the water. Only they're like really kind of almost the fall leaves, that the ones that are like black and wet,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the rain. They're this is not pretty fall leaf color. These are all like that kind of gutter
The
rain
leaves
leaf
that were on
kind
the
of,
bottom of the leaf pile.
yeah, they're almost mulch. Yeah, and just kind of like there's a little that kind of mulch on the water, and it just kind of there's a bubble there and a little bit of that, and then it just kind of floats on the top, and the water just it kind of goes off to the edges of the pool and of the kind of the cistern. And I've got to imagine there's like some kind of like way to drain and skim off stuff off the top of the
Yeah.
water kind of thing. So yeah, it's like you see people like, yeah, we can, okay, we'll get, and they kind of like they're basically just big sticks to just kind of try and rake it into like a drainage kind of thing. Yeah, so they kind of sweep that. The water looks better. Yeah, I mean it you've gotten everything that seems visible. Whether that's worked completely or not, we'll find out. But
Okay.
But yeah. And let's see. Is there any other some of these that but some of that. Just trying to make sure that we've got some things going on. And yeah. So Alan, are you doing anything with that crystal?
I kind of. So in the last session, I mentioned that the crystal, I was trying to mold it into the cane.
Mm-hmm.
Would you?
You've had a couple of days. I mean, there's
Yeah.
probably somebody. I mean, it's not easy to find. So I'm going to say probably not something that would necessarily. It would take a good bit of the week to get done, because you can't just take it to a jeweler, because they're also a little bit of, kind of busy now. I don't know about you knew, but our neighborhood caught fire, so trying to rebuild our house. And on the other hand, there's also we kind of need work. So, I mean, I imagine you could probably find somebody to get it done, but it's not there. There are like no promises as far as when this is going to get finished, right?
For
This is kind of
sure.
like
Well,
I'm sorry, we would normally have a 2-day guarantee, but circumstances.
Well, my thought process is one of two things. Because one, Alan got hit by lightning trying to mess with the crystal a bit. And I sent a question in chat, and I just wanted to wait till everyone said that. I have an alternative plan just in case. But I think it's definitely a little bit of Alan, like every now and then, just like messing with what they could do with the lightning. And just kind of getting a vibe on that. And from there, basically unlocking a Darren, I agree. But just to be sure with everyone else, is that okay if I okay, cool. So yeah, basically Alwyn, I think what happened during that last session is when he got hit by that lightning, the crystal went right into his hand and it's like embedded, kind of like there was a game that did this, but basically he can throw around lightning with the palm of his hand now, in a very force lightning kind of sense. Does that sound about good to you?
I mean,
or do you
I want to know the circumstances in which under which Alwyn force lightning someone. Is it when they claim to prefer decaf, or
I would never fight someone over decaf. Now, if they ask me for a wet cappuccino, I will fight them then. But we don't deal with steaming milk. I think the way this comes about is Alwyn knows he didn't know what he was messing with, first of all, as he usually does. But over the course of a couple of days, basically starts covering up his hand, starts wearing gloves a lot more often, fingerless gloves, because he still likes to turn pages. And they kind of, in the dead of night, you hear like a crackling storm, which really throws people off because that shouldn't be happening. And
Well, I would say the only thing I would say is the crackling and the sound effects and stuff. We can call that that would be something that would happen if you failed a corruption check, right? Because that's an obvious sign of corruption from the magic. So probably right now there's not anything detectable because you haven't gotten any of that happening yet. But we can save that.
I think that was
standing next to Alwyn is later down the road. Standing next to Alwyn is like standing next to a transformer. And there's that hum. Kind of. God, that's annoying, Alwyn. Can you turn that off? No.
But I think that's also another reason why Alwyn was going to Blackweather to read up on some different stories and such, because they wanted to know more about the god of Tempest and like other ways powers of gods could be locked away in different ways. Just because they wanted to get that position and get that knowledge with forbidden lore and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I think if you and Darren at Blackweather's are, I think probably at some point Blackweather would have to like come out and obviously wants to get that ink, and it's like, okay, is this a reveal of the crystal, or what? How are you approaching this? Just like asking about the god of storms and things like that, or
bit more vague. Just are there artifacts that have like locked away powers of gods? Maybe they're stored inside a crystal or something like that. Like I know books are a big thing, but those are more related to the Serpentine Empire. I'm wondering if there's like more natural resources.
If you want to talk about powers, magical powers that are locked away, then you are talking about the Serpentine Empire. I mean, that is what they did, and I mean, and part of the reason why they overreached themselves, and what wasn't destroyed would have been locked away. And you can, I mean, like I said, the aftermath exists. As far as binding things, there are books.
Darren's like watching this exchange very closely, but not saying anything.
Well, the reason why I bring this up is, were you able to witness the events of the parade, or actually have we told Blackweather what happened for the most part? Like any kind of abridged version?
That's a good question. Have you? I mean, you've had a couple of days. I imagine that there's been some contact.
I mean, that's why Darren's here, basically.
Just to fill him,
she's gonna tell him she's here to research time magic.
Me too.
I feel like Alwyn and Darren like planned this to come together.
Okay. So kind of how do you approach that topic then with Blackweather? I mean, he's like, sealing stuff. Look, sealing stuff away. I also am very curious about that. I mean, this is part of the thing we do here at Blackweather, is sealing away things that should not be opened again, like certain volumes of medical knowledge and stuff like that. So yes, I know a little bit about some of those wards and how things are locked up.
About manipulation of time.
Oh, you're on this again?
Yeah, actually, great point. I'm
assuming that's a joke Blackweather is making. I don't know if that's true or not, but I am assuming it's a joke.
Alwyn is not.
That's just Stephanie assuming Pulsar is doing that.
God damn it.
I think there's got us a shot twice, Blackweather. But we're the only ones who remember it.
Gods was shot twice?
Once through the chest, and
On
then
two
another time through
separate
the throat.
occasions. But we're the only ones who remember.
Why would Honestly, there was only a few minutes. I would probably say that still counts as the same one occasion, but yeah, okay. I'll give you the two separate occasions, but yeah.
Blackweather, now it's not a time to debate semantics.
Semantics are the only way you can talk about time travel. Time magic is, I mean, there are books, and
Oh, where?
I don't have them. I know of them. I have some references to them, but time magic will be hard. It's hard to talk about it because someone that can do time magic, how do you beat them, or have you? I mean, that's the thing. There are, one of the authors of one of the books is this is a Serpentine book, and the author disappeared. There's no record of their death. And it's about time magic. So what does that tell you? It's concerning. So
Exactly. Well, I'm most interested in who would have access to it, why, how, to find them, stop them.
Or is this an access all gods get, and what does it cost for them to use it?
well, gods generally don't have, I mean, they have their own, as sorcerers tend to focus on one type of thing, gods and goddesses tend to focus on their sphere. There's not, I mean, Caprians
So-
have gods of time.
Caprians. Others?
Well, I mean, there used to be other gods in Erebos, but now there is only the god of fire. Camians.
Blackweather. Just let us in the books. Just let us do some research.
I need to know why, because otherwise,
I told
I'm.
you. The goddess was shot in the chest.
Yeah. So you want to learn
prepared
to
to
do time
save her.
travel magic to do
I want
what?
to know how someone else might have learned it, and to find out how to find who did it, because there's not exactly a patch of corruption in time that I can go to and read and figure out who that sorcerer was.
Mm-hmm. Quick question to Darren. Do you have a point in Liar's Tale?
I do not.
Cool. Don't worry then. Alwyn is going to say,
I charm.
Before I
personally-
lie, do you have a point in the thing that like?
I want to make sure, I want to play into that a little bit. But Alwyn's going to say, I want to prevent whatever being tries to pull that on us again from doing anything like that ever again. Time is a mess and works in a similar way of opening pathways to other realms.
What do all sorcerers want? They want power, and they want more power than other sorcerers. And we've just found one that has more power than us.
Yeah.
Except we didn't find them.
Okay.
Are you comforted with the knowledge that there's someone with the ability to manipulate time out there?
For all you know, we could be having this conversation again. Also, why were we immune to it?
See, that makes me wonder if it was a sorcerer at all. But also, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you were in the carriage with the goddess. So
Not all of us, and we all remember it.
And the crowd remembered something.
Everyone had a weird case of deja vu.
Well, I mean, from what I have, and there, some of that is bleed over. I mean, there, maybe they do remember it. Maybe everyone remembers it. They just don't know they remember it. Or their brain is trying
very
to.
good questions that we could have answered if we could do some research on time manipulation.
So you're asking me, someone who works for the city in a quasi-amateur capacity, of course, to allow you at the Library of Restricted and Dangerous Books to learn something strictly for the public good that you'll never use for personal gain.
To be fair, how many books have we returned to you, and how many of them are nearly world ending? And how many problems have we solved because we happen to hear about a world ending problem?
Come on, Blackweather. You know that you could trust
How
us.
do I know that you haven't done all that because you learned time travel and then went back to do it?
Why would we be...
Can I use charm to convince him somehow? I want to use a roll here to just be like, come on, you know us.
Okay. I mean, I think, yeah.
Blackweather, I think we have enough dirt on each other to ruin each other thoroughly. Trust us.
Blackweather, you know where I live, and you know I can't fight for shit.
That's true.
A soft breeze could blow me over.
He also knows you have a Fontavni warrior friend.
So can I roll?
I think charm is definitely useful here. There's other things you could throw in on there. You've got, I believe, the Triskidane as an allegiance.
I have a favor from the Triskidane that I'm holding on to. Yeah. Is Blackweather You said he wasn't.
He's not a member of the Triskidane, but there's lots of people that work for them.
All right.
There's an entire bureaucracy that works for the Triskidane. There's a speaker for the Triskidane. Basically, when they make a decision for the city, it's the speaker that and who's basically somebody who is a professional public orator, kind of like the new laws passed by the city are, and kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Though most of the time, unless you're really bored, no one goes to those announcement things. That's like going to who goes to the city council meetings, right? And for the large part, a lot of you get your news from Shouty Tommy, so it's a thing. But anyway, there's a whole bureaucracy that works for the Triskidane, but aren't necessarily members of. It's like there's a difference between working for the city and being the mayor, kind of thing.
Okay. Well, yeah. Is this like a sway roll then to convince him? And I'm gonna add charm to it.
But I mean, charm is basically dropping and again doing. If you wanted to use Triskidane allegiances, that's definitely a thing. That would be another like a double spend on invest, because Triskidane allegiance is basically it kind of like operates the same way as investigative skill.
Right.
But yeah, I think just charm and sway is probably. You want to take the +3, or do you want to do the extra D6 of morale damage if he decides not to go along with what you're wanting? Persuasion is kind of a maneuver there,
Yeah. I'm gonna spend 2 points this way, and then I'll add the D6 of damage from charm.
Sure.
Okay, so the 4 + 2 makes it a 6 on the roll.
Okay.
So
you're rolling 2d6, and And I to double check my cheat sheets, I have to get them out from under my cat. Hi.
Yeah, so that I rolled a 2 on the second one. So that would be like 8 damage, I think, if I'm remembering how to do this right. Yeah.
Yep. And basically the way a maneuver works is for Swords of Serpentine, to kind of let me address the audience for a moment. But the person on the receiving end of this, it's kind of an either or. It's take a certain amount of morale damage, in this case 8 is what you got, 8, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like a certain amount of morale damage, so it's the equivalent of that -2. So he's either going to take 6 morale damage or go along with this. So I think even Blackweather's like, fine. I certainly would not want to make an enemy of the Ligorio family.
Why would you get
However,
specialty inks?
Yes, no, that's... You can study the books here. We're not checking. This isn't a library. We're checking them out.
Of course. I don't want to be seen in the city with the books.
Very good, then. In that case, I'll let you look at the book. These aren't the books on time travel, but I can point you at, or time magic, but I can point you at the books that talk about the books about time magic.
Yeah, I think Darren's more of just trying to learn, like, how does this even work? Like, how would someone go about learning it? Like, are there gods who have this under there? Just like more very broad kind of time manipulation research.
Yeah, I mean,
she doesn't actually want to learn this.
Okay, I mean, but there are gods of time. You know, Greeks had Chronos, kind of. You know, that sort of. You know, there are the gods of the concept of passing of power.
For information to be able to then further narrow it down. Basically, she doesn't even know where to start. I think it's such a weird, broad topic.
Well, yeah, is there's time magic and there's time manipulation, and that's very serpentine and weird. So yeah.
I imagine Alwyn is like, "Yay, books!" and like runs off down the like stairs to the locked books. I think Darren's
Blackweather kind of does the wheels and rotates his chair and just like, ow.
Blackweather. One other thing. Once Alwyn's like bounded out the room in excitement.
Sure.
I need to get a rare item. Well, and I doubt you have one, but I'm sure you know how I could get it.
Yeah. I mean,
I want to get an amulet of spiraling agony.
Why?
To protect someone.
If you know there's a sorcerer coming after someone, it would be nice to know, do you know the sorcerer in question, or we could just deal with that problem direct? Okay.
I don't... It's more that someone could quite possibly come into contact with one who has fewer ethics than the rest of us.
Yes, that's why this library exists, is sorcerer with fewer ethics, both from the point that they write these things and the point that they're out there wanting to get them before we do. So yes. So you're
I don't think there's an active current danger, but there is an ever-present low chance. And you know how probability works. Eventually, it procs.
Well, I know how to make them.
That would work.
If that would help.
Sure.
I don't have one. And
like I said, I doubt you would.
I mean, and if I did, I wouldn't tell anyone until I needed it, and then I could go, haha, you tried sorcerer. Anyway. But yes, it's expensive and difficult and time consuming. Are you okay with that?
I think Darren's just like, whatever. And like money, it's like, what is money? It's just like very much like, okay.
after Darren does a hand motion of whatever, Alan bounce back up.
In the stacks. Yeah, okay.
Alan actually bounced back up and says, question for both of you. Do you know where people are gathering who are looking for others, or people who are missing people? Like, basically, people who are lost, disorganized, don't know where they are, or where they're collecting people who have yet to be identified. I got a few descriptions from Sat Carver.
Blackweather's like, do you mean like bodies?
Living or dead?
I think Darren's look is just like, why would I know something like that?
Alan's just going to look at you like, you know everything. You make a living knowing things.
And Blackweather's like, no, that's me. She knows things she's not supposed to. It's different.
Same thing. You both know things, you just know different types of things.
Do you want to find out?
That the flotilla out there, they're struggling a lot more. And while I know everyone in the city is struggling,
who I bet would be very good at that? I bet Pax has taken it upon herself to do something like that, to create a network. Because it seems like a very Pax kind of thing to do.
I was going to go see them earlier, and then I kind of got distracted. I should go see them. Let me go read something real quick. Also, why is this talking about someone's partner who keeps skipping through time? Is this a fiction book?
God damn you, Cole.
Wanted to get in there somewhere.
Fuck you.
Oh boy.
I did not get the reference, but I knew you were referencing something there.
Time Traveler's Wife.
Yeah, I saw him mention it earlier in chat. So
I think you'll find that one's about a Camian scientist that just hops from mind to mind.
Hey Cole, why don't you go
Yep,
start
downstairs.
the research? And then I'll turn back to Blackweather. Dangerous, difficult.
Just again, it's an effort, and it's not it's enough of an effort that it's not worth it if it's just a whim.
It's definitely not a whim to want this person protected.
Okay. Interesting. And yeah, well, let's go. It's kind of there's like an elevator.
Excellent.
Blackweather's in a chair. He doesn't do stairs.
It's like, is it like a really big dumbwaiter? I want it to be like a really big dumbwaiter.
Well, I mean, basically, that's every elevator is a really big dumbwaiter. It essentially. But I mean, yeah, this is kind of one of those. It's not much more than there's. You and Blackweather in that elevator will be it's close. Basically, it's built for him, and that's basically there's very little more room anyway. But it's not like one of the it's one of the old that has the like the cage across it, but not it's kind of a hey, don't fall out, but not like a full on door.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes down like several stories, and of course you could kind of beyond a certain point you can kind of hear Alwyn kind of thumping down the spiral stairway that is next to it, and you guys go down probably several stories into, and I don't know if you guys probably haven't been like deep in the stacks, but it's one of those you may have gone previously down 1 or 2 levels. This goes down like 4 or 5. That this Blackweather has bought this whole building for like way several stories down. Anyway, yeah. So there are basement levels, and it gets a little more damp, but not. You can kind of feel that in the air, but it's not bad enough that it would be bad on books, kind of thing. It's just kind of it's more of the coolness, the temperature kind of drops for being under the earth, kind of thing, as opposed to necessarily wet. But yeah, and there are books, and there are kind of like, okay. Well, there's like a table, and normally it's a table that has like one chair, and the other side doesn't have any chairs, because that's where Blackwither would like park and read. But
Right.
they're like the little reading stand kind of things on it. But there's like a second table that is dusty and kind of piled with stuff, papers, books, things like that. And he kind of grabs some of that up, tucks it like under his seat, and kind of, you can read there. I'll be right back with the book, and we'll go on with that. And basically, when he comes back, you get to sit down with a book that's basically, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to assume, Darren, that one of the languages you do read is Serpentine.
Absolutely.
That kind of is required. So one
Yeah,
of the 4 languages
That's how I
you know
learned
with forgotten.
sorcery.
Yeah. So one of the languages you know of forgotten lore. So this book is entitled Again and Again by Kasia Gatelik. And I will spell that out for y'all.
You're gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean, really? You just don't have the names?
I can barely spell stuff in English. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's a perfectly normal name in Serpentine. And but yeah, it's titled Again and Again, and it's a study of magic the second time. And
Interesting.
But and basically the camera kind of focuses in on that title, and that's where we're going to end for this.
I think one thing I'm gonna add, I think as it focuses in, it passes by Darren, and I think her eyes do the thing where the black just expands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just like a bird or a snake that gets excited, just
Or like, reading secrets, ripping them out of a
Nice.
book to permanently implant them.
Nice. Perfect. But yeah, I think that kind of, you have that kind of camera focus in on And Again and Again by Kasia Gatelik. So, and that's where we'll stop. I have been Commander Pulsar, and thank you for joining us for Swords of Serpentine, and I hope you had a good time. This was kind of a little low-key planting some seeds for this fun arc, and kind of a little bit of showcase of, there's a little bit of aftermath from, the goddess nearly dying. So yeah, but I have a great time. You can find me on the internet at Commander Pulsar on Twitter and on Twitch. You can find me on Sundays building Lego. We're putting together right now, speaking of time travel, we're putting together a really lovely DeLorean that has been known to, you'll see at 88 miles an hour, this thing will do some stuff. But anyway, and I'm not throwing my Legos at 88 miles an hour, sorry. Anyway, but yeah, I've had a great time, and thanks again to Pelgrane Press for writing this fun game, Kevin Culp and Emily Desner for writing this fun game, Pelgrane Press for publishing it. I'm looking forward to having it in my hands so I can show the cover off to you and all that other good stuff. But yeah, you can, we have some links that hopefully have been going through stream every once in a while for a code to get 10% off if you'd like to look at the rules and get a copy yourself. I guess we'll pass it to Stephanie. I'm on the way back. Yeah. Tell us about
My name is Stephanie Allen. I am half of Charm Person Games. We are a queer, women-owned professional game master for hire service based out of Baltimore. So if you're local, you can hire us in person. Otherwise, you can go to charmpersongames.com and hire us off of the games there. you can catch me here every Tuesday night. You can also catch me at the upcoming virtual horror con hosted by Gehenna Gaming, a longtime friends there. That is July 8th through the 10th. You can buy tickets at virtualhorrorcon.com. I will be on a panel with Brandon that I'll let him talk about. And I will also be in 2 different actual plays. I will be in an actual play of Our Haunt, and I'll be coming back with Monster Hearts. So I'll also be in an actual play of Monster Hearts that you can find online. And I will also be running games, so you can pay to be in my games. How do you do that? You go to virtualhorrorcon.com and follow the links to sign up for there. But I'll be running Vampire the Masquerade and a handful of other things.
Cool.
Let's go with Kitty. I'm Kitty, or Caffeinated Kitty. I am an artist and fantasy writer and editor. I have a big project this next month that I'm working on. I'm working on a hand-drawn map for Desert Bus for Hope, which I'm super excited about doing. So you might see that in my background. Might get peeks of it the next couple weeks. I make fantasy maps, custom fantasy maps, and paint miniatures, and make 3D MTG card art altars. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Wizardly Kitty, and then you can find me on DeviantArt as Caffeinated Kitty. And later this summer, I'm planning to start an art stream, and you can find my channel on Twitch as Caffeinated Kitty. So I guess follow my channel and my Twitter to figure out when I go live. Let's have Aki go next.
Hi, my name is Aki. You can find me on Twitter or Twitch as It's Aki, one word, all lowercase. I am a variety streamer who just had their heart broken by the Mass Effect trilogy.
Again?
The whole I did the whole thing, and now I'm sad.
Okay.
Yeah, I am a variety streamer, and I am a fiber artist, crocheter specifically, that does character amigurini for TTRPGs, as well as, you know, selling occasional little rainbow colored creations on my coffee. And yeah, you can find me here on Tuesdays and lurking in a lot of channels because I forget to say hi. Yeah, and Cole.
Hi, y'all. I am Cole, aka Ice Cold Brew. I have been your absolute mess of a sorcerer this evening. You can find me on my Twitch over at Ice Cold Brew. You can follow me on Twitter at Ice Cold Brew. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to be returning streaming with my partner. And instead of playing Elden Ring, we're going to be checking out Norco, which is a really fun point-and-click mystery dystopian sci-fi game. I highly recommend checking it out. It's from Geography of Robots. Another big thing I get to announce, because I got told recently I can start talking about, I'm also going to be featuring a podcast soon with a friend. It's called Inside the Table, where we will be talking about tabletop RPGs, going through different games together. Basically, it's a good chance for my friend and I to really hype up more projects that we like. You can follow us on Twitter at Inside the Table to learn about when our first episode's going live.
Excellent. And yeah,
back to Pulsar with the weather.
With the weather. Yes.
I have been waiting for that.
Thanks, Cole. So, this evening
Are we
and
getting
everything.
an omniscient anything this week?
Yeah.
Well, we can, since you threw it to me earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's definitely because I definitely didn't forget what our panel's about.
Yeah, you didn't talk about that panel. Yeah.
I didn't go to virtualhorrorcon.com because the panel schedule is live and look up the title just to make sure I knew what I was talking about. No. But anyways, yes, this is actually a panel I'm moderating because we're testing it out before PAX Unplugged, and Stephanie was kind enough to volunteer. And it's called Communication at the Table, How to Not Be That Guy. Please don't be that guy. But if you think you're starting to, come to this panel and find out why you shouldn't. If you've never had a normal human conversation and need to talk at a tabletop RPG table, this panel might be for you. We'll talk about how communication can make or break your table or show, and how to implement techniques and advice we've learned to avoid those issues as much as possible. There will probably also be some horror stories. I know I have at least 2 ready to go. Because we all have them. It happens. But we can learn from them.
Well, it is virtual horror con, so I guess
That is true.
Yeah.
All that being said, let's see. We have Wednesday Night Magic returning tomorrow, and it is myself, Jamie Wolf, Blackjack Crafts, and Commander Pulsar. And then we have a very exciting episode of Fire in the Dark coming on Sunday, where we have a special guest that we've teased. I don't think we've officially said who it is yet. I could be wrong though. That'll get announced later this week. And
Voice in the Sky. Would it be fair to say? I'm actually not going to say it because I would give too much away.
I was about to say you're gonna spoil it, Cole.
I
love you. Whatever came out of your mouth was gonna be a spoiler.
It was.
Big Alwyn energy, yes.
Yeah. But with all that being said, thank you all so much for sticking with us through these campaigns. We are actually getting towards season 1 endings of Denari's Half Dozen and Fire in the Dark, so I'm excited. The breaks are coming at the right time because getting married in October. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. In the meantime, I had found some.
What do you need off for that? Like 1-2 days? I mean,
I didn't. Yeah. Ask me that again when I'm drinking on a beach. Except you won't, because my phone is staying in the hotel room. But anyways, we're gonna raid So Many Games, who's doing some Star Trek right now.
Yes, it's such a fun game.
Make sure I spell this right. Yes. So toss that over to them. Again, thank you all so much for watching. If you want to support our lovely cast, first off, subs, bits, and donos here on Twitch all get split between cast and production. And then also same goes for our Patreon and Ko-fi members, who will get all of the cool stuff. As soon as I get this video edited, it goes straight to Patreon and Ko-fi, and then we'll get it on YouTube later this week. So once again, thank you all for watching. I'm going to throw us to our end screen, and y'all have a good one.